Hi everyone and happy Tuesday. Welcome to the second video from this planner page from the Johanna Basford weekly planner, coloured with Holbein pencils. Now I just looked at this page as I sat down and realised we didn't colour the door handle, but we did. Oh, we haven't done the lamp either. Excuse me, never mind. I might not do those right now. We're going to work on some of the plants and details and things like that and just see how long it takes really. So I'm probably just going to start up at the top here with these cute little mushrooms here. Now I almost think these look like chimneys on the top of our mushroom house, don't they? I'm not sure though what colour to do them. I mean, we could match them in with the roof, but I think it's quite nice to do them a little bit different, just to play around with some different colours really. I am having a little look at my swatch chart because I'm using my Holbeins here. They're fairly new to me, so I'm sort of like not completely familiar with the different range of colours that I have. But I'm going to go with the more pastel shades and go with the lilac, I think. Here it is, lilac. And what I'm going to do is go over the whole thing with a lilac and then take a slightly darker colour and put in some shadows and things. But I'm just going to sharpen. Oh, nearly dropped my sharpener. It was a good catch. You didn't see it on camera. It was a very good catch. So here is our lilac, and as I say, all over, like the stems as well as the whole of each mushroom. And then we'll put in a little bit of shadow and things like that if we can. It's quite small, but I think we can do that. So just getting a little bit down. There we go. I was trying to decide whether to come through here and do some recording or whether to go out. I'm going to try and layer up a bit of colour here and here to emphasise these sections a little bit. I don't know how much it's going to stand out. I'm just going to give it a try. I'm just putting a line either side of the black line there. Yeah, it's I was trying to decide whether to go out, but I had a look at the weather and it's supposed to be dry all day, so I thought I would just pop in here and do a little bit of a video first and then go out. I might go out after lunch actually. One of my sons is here. He's not interested in coming out. It really doesn't show up, does it? I think I need a darker colour. Let me have a little look, see what I can do. I could go with the wisteria. I think I will try that out. There's a wisteria. It's not quite such a pinky colour, but I think it'll work. I don't want to do anything too dark. So the idea is, as I said before, to go either side of the black line just to try to add a little bit of texture to our mushrooms, because these lines are sort of drawn in as if we've got some shape there. Yeah, so I'm probably going to, yeah, one of my sons is out. He's out all day today. He's basically got a normal lecture. He has one on a Wednesday class, and then he's got a field trip. I don't really think it's called that when you're at university, but they're visiting a company, and it is a company that he had a job interview with last week, and he hasn't heard back as to whether he's got the job or not, and he's got to go there. But I think he's just gonna keep his head down a little bit. Obviously he'll speak to anyone he sees that he knows from when he was there, and he's very good at doing that and remembering, and you know, but otherwise he'll just, you know, just hope, because he hasn't heard, because he was told he would hear by the end of the week, and it's only I'm trying to find a colour for inside here. I want it to be darker. It looks quite pretty being light, but we need a little bit of shadow where they're overlapping. And I might go for the smoke blue actually, and see if that works for a bit of shadow. Smoke blue. So I'm just going to sharpen that. Yeah, so we'll see how he gets on anyway. But he said they've got a sort of series of talks and things like that from the company. So, you know, it depends who's doing it, whether it's someone he knows. They're reasonably big. I mean, when I say big, I mean like 20 or 30 employees. And he was interviewed by one of the people who interviewed him was a director, so I don't know if he'll be there or not. Directors are busy. Yeah, we'll see anyway. My other son's got his organised, but he's waiting to hear back from the university. I'm just going to brush that off. It looks a little bit crummy. Pencil crummy, not crummy. There we go. That's quite cute, isn't it? I'm just pushing it straight up out of shot so we can do these flowers. Now we need something that sort of works here but doesn't really have to 100% work. I'm also looking at, that is a flower there. I think I'm going to do the flower middles first, just so that it's easier for me to identify what's what, because we've got middles, we've got petals, we've got leaves. It's all a bit confusing for me, to be honest. So I'm going to start with a light colour for the flower centres. This is the light sand. It wasn't the one I thought. I was going to get the Jaune Brilliant, but actually this is better. Light sand. It's just a pale yellow, creamy yellow. I'm only going to put a little bit down, and I will probably add other colours to it. But I may not add that other colour to it yet. I think I'll just leave this colour as my base. So don't press too hard, because you'll burnish it down. It's quite vibrant enough to see without, you know, really pushing down. Now underneath these flowers we've got like gaps like here and here, and those gaps I think really are supposed to be the colour of the mushroom, but I haven't coloured them in, so I've got to give that a bit of thought as well. Like this one is this petal, but these could be the mushroom, but they could be their leaves. Like here, what's this? You know, you've got to think about that and sort of fiddle with that a little bit. So there is that basic bit. I think I actually want to just grab, a colour while I'm just got this bit of my pencil case open. This is the cork, and I want to put a bit of this at the bottom of each. I'm going to leave a little bit at the bottom and just sort of put a bit here. So like draw a little smile and then fade it up towards the top. This one, we can't see it all, so we're going to start right at the bottom. He's sort of, you know, hoping I think he's partly hoping he might hear today about whether he gets it, but obviously it would be ultra embarrassing if they told him he hadn't got it while he was there. But I think it's unlikely. He's very confident that he's got it, but you know, I never know with him whether he really is or whether it's a bit of bravado, if you know what I mean, you know. Now I'm trying to choose a colour for these flowers, and I'm nattering on and procrastinating doing the flower centres and things and trying to think. I think dark purple always goes very nicely with orange. It's quite a clashy thing. I think it's to do with the colour wheel and where they're positioned and things like that. And I am going to give it a go. I'm just trying to choose between iris and grape. They're both really pretty. Not grape, iris and violet. I think I'm going to use iris. Both girls' names, aren't they? A bit old-fashioned. I don't think you hear of people called. So I've grabbed the iris, just in case you're trying to grab yours. Just sharpening it. You don't really hear of people called iris, do you? Or violet. I don't think I know of anyone called those names. Some old-fashioned names seem to be making a comeback when my boys were at primary school. What I'm going to do here is just fade towards the tip of the petal. Sort of names like Mabel and Millie, and for the girls sort of Amelia and things like that, which for me seem a little bit old-fashioned. But because when I was at school, the fashionable names were Claire and Emma and Helen. I had loads of people called that, but my boys had no one in their classes called those names, which was interesting. though my sons have both had other kids in their class with their name, and so that's interesting. But there are names that are brand new to me, that people are using, you know. But it's interesting. I find names fascinating. When I wanted to do my PhD, I wanted to study the impact of names on, well, I did a little study myself on the impact of names and exam results, and I wanted to see the impact of names on everything, you know, life as a whole, like, you know, maybe exam results, but also like your career, your all sorts of things like that. But unfortunately, the university I went to apply for my PhD basically said to me, well, there's been no research done on this, so you couldn't do a whole PhD study on it because you wouldn't have enough papers to do your literature review. So I ended up being talked into doing my tutor's pet project, which I didn't really have any enthusiasm for, and ended up just not finishing because it was just anyway, and it was so much money that I was paying per month. I was paying like £200-300 a month, and I was having an hour of tutor time, and I was just like, this is rubbish value for money. Back in the day, nowadays, what do they pay? They pay 9,000 plus a year, but they get 3, 6, 9, 12 hours a week for 24 weeks a year, something like that, plus things marked and, you know, exams set and things like that. Anyway, it just felt a bit rubbish. But nowadays there has been studies done on it, and so I'm always interested to see what people say, because, and of course I felt enormous pressure when I was choosing names for my children, having done a little bit of initial study into it. But I think we're okay. Fortunately, they like their names. I was reading a news article today. I tried not to read too much news, but I was just interested in looking at it. I had a little video. I was watching the video, and there was a child involved. It was a celebrity's child, and their name was very unusual, shall we say. And I was talking to my son about it, and he said, that kid will change their name. I mean, the kid was like 3, maybe 2, I don't know. He was like, that kid will change their name and probably disown their parents. I was like, yeah, maybe. You know, it was just a very odd name. And I sometimes think, you know, when that child goes to school, that name, you know, but then if everyone knows who their parents are, that's going to potentially cause some problems too. In my husband's cousin, direct cousin, went to school with a member of the royal family. They were in their year at their school. She never talked to them. But you couldn't escape knowing who they were. Everybody knew, you know, and they had a security guard obviously with them all the time, and sleeping outside the dormitory and all this sort of thing, you know. So it was very obvious, and by their name and by how they look, because they're in the news, you know, they're in the public eye all the time. So it was very obvious who they were. And she said it was quite nasty, in that everyone just wanted to be a friend because of who she was, you know, and the sort of had a sort of group of girls all wanting to say that they were her best friend and all this sort of thing. And she just found it loathsome and just didn't want to be a part of that. You know, she didn't hold it against the royal person, but she just didn't want to be part of that gang of girls who were just, you know, clucking around sort of thing. She said it was horrible, and I assume that would happen with any sort of famous person. I mean, obviously they don't go to just a regular school. You know, they'd go to an expensive one, but even so, there's still people there. You know, you wonder. I mean, obviously some famous people keep their children's identity hidden so that they can have more of a normal life, I suppose, you know. And some choose not to do it that way. And I can see the pros and cons in both, you know. It's very personal. It's not for us to judge each person. It's for us to make the decision about what we would do if we were in that situation, which most of us aren't. Now I've done that, I am going to go back to the centres because they look very pale, don't they? So I'm going to grab this colour. What is this? The marigold. So it's this sort of orangey yellow. And I'm going to put a bit more in. So where I did that cork, which really doesn't show up at all, I'm going to go over the top of it with this marigold. I want these centres to shine. Now it won't be as bright as it would be without the cork, and I'm fine with that. There we go. I just think it stands out a little bit more. It needs a little bit more vibrancy, shall we say. Now I prefer that. It just jumps off the page a little bit more. Now we've got all these teeny tiny leaves to do, and I think I need just a mid-regular green. What would I say was a mid-regular green? I think although that's slightly bluey, I think the malachite green might just work nicely. I've used this, it's already quite short. Oh, malachite green, but I don't get scared of making my pencil short. I mean, obviously these Holbeins, sorry, just got to blow my nose. I'm going to sharpen it as well. These Holbeins are very expensive. They're the most expensive pencils I have. However, I feel that having them sitting on the shelf is even more of a waste of money than using them and enjoying them. You know, so here's our malachite. We're going to just do all the leaves. What I'm going to try and do is make them a little bit darker at the base and lighter to the tip. Yeah, I think it's just a waste having expensive pencils sitting on any pencils sitting on the shelf. I try and use all of my pencils. Obviously it's very hard to use them all at once, especially when you have as many as me. Shush. But yeah, I'm fine with using them, and some of them I buy replacements for, some of my main sets, and especially when they're available open stock. But what I really should do is be using some up, you know, and occasionally I grab a set that's sort of running out, like my Arteza premiums in the tube. You might be familiar. Some of them are getting really short, so I grab those out and try and use those occasionally, so that I sort of start using them up, you know. And I'm not going to replace those. They are fine pencils for the price, very good value for the price, I would say. It's a good range of colour. I used to use them a fair bit for videos when they were on trend, because when they I think Johanna Basford used some, and then everyone was buying them, so I'd use them in videos. It got a little bit confusing because the tube that she had slightly different colours into the one that I had, so people didn't always have the same ones. I always felt that it may have been that the set that came out in the US was different to the UK one, but because Johanna's in the UK and so am I, that didn't really work with my theory, so I don't know. Anyway, so because my greens are like this big, I don't tend to use them for videos anymore. But yeah, that's me. Oh, that shouldn't have been green, but never mind. I am going to fill in all these gaps in green as if our flowers are nestled on a bed of green leaves. It sounds very romantic, doesn't it? Nestled on a bed of green leaves. Also saves me trying to match up the right orange / yellow colour. I can't do that. So yes, so I do have some sets that I sort of need to run out. I do have one set that I haven't used yet. Shh, don't tell anyone. I bought them because the outer casing and the box were beautiful, and I thought that I would sort of use them next to pictures to make them look nice. You know, when you photograph a picture, you might put a few pretty pencils by it. But then I realised that everyone's going to go, what are those pencils? And I'm going to go, well, they're these, but I didn't actually use them for the picture. And then it seems a bit lame and confusing. So I didn't do that. Also, although they all have pictures on, the pictures are all really different. So one might have bees on, one might have space rockets on, one might have flowers on, for example. I think those are right. So you can't sort of put them together in a page because they don't link theme-wise, if you know what I mean. So I just sort of gave up with them, which is, no, maybe I should give them away. But I haven't, maybe I should use them, see what they're like. But I think they're really hard and a bit rubbish. They're just pretty. Do you know what I mean? The outside barrels were actually designed, the pictures on them, by someone who's an artist, and they're really pretty. And you know, I was like, oh, I don't know what to do. But maybe, you know, when I get my amazing craft room, you know how we all will at one point, and I have lots of lovely shelf space for displaying things, I could just display them and they'd look all pretty, and then I'd have to dust them. Maybe not then. Right, next I am looking at this, but I'm trying to work out where it comes from and whether this is part of this. Let me have a look at the, I think this is part of this, but does it go anywhere else? No. So I think this bit and this bit are the same. It's sort of come up and out of time. So we're going to do this greenery. We need, I'm going to use a colour called evergreen for this, if I can find it. Where is it? Evergreen. Next to there. Is that? There it is. Oh, they're flipping gold on here. It's so hard to read. Evergreen. Maybe it's just my eyes. My eyes! I'm always complaining about my eyes. Right. Evergreen. Now we have these sort of fruits here. And I've got to make a decision too about the colour of those. I'm going to colour these in the same way, just fading down slightly towards the tip. You could use more than one colour, of course. I'm just going to do all of this vine while my pencil's nice and sharp. Yes, you could do a different colour on the tip. Oh, excuse me, hiccup. I'm not going to overcomplicate it because it's quite detailed. Now I realise now why I've done this page so many times, because it's not only in Worlds of Wonder, it's also in Flourish. Now I don't know if you remember, Flourish was a free downloadable book that Johanna made during lockdown. So if you don't have Worlds of Wonder, you could print off Flourish, or just print off this page from Flourish and colour along from there. That's why I've done it so many times, because I've done it from Flourish, I've done it in Worlds of Wonder. I've got 2 copies of Worlds of Wonder. I don't know if I've done it the second time yet, but I've decided I need to stop buying 2 copies of Johanna's books, as much as I love them, because the pictures are often repeated in the planners, and I've got so many books. I need to slow down a bit. But I've got her next book, Wonderful Wildflowers, on pre-order, of course. I mean, it's only so I can flip through it and show you and do, you know, it's not because I want it. I am such a naughty girl. Of course I want it. But I've also, this year, I'm going to buy God Jewel by Hannah Carlson. I didn't buy it when it was available on iMusic in the foreign language edition. I'm not sure which language. Anyway, and it sold out. and so now I've got to wait, it serves me right, until September to get the English edition, and that's coming out on Amazon. But I haven't pre-ordered it yet because I'm sort of hoping I might be able to get it from my regular bookseller. But I don't know if they do her books, and I should really look and see. Because if they've got her other books, they'll have it. But if they haven't, then they're not going to get it in because they don't do all colouring books. I'm just going to sharpen my pencil. These leaves are teeny. No, they don't do all colouring books. They just do a selection. They have got, it's quite nice actually, because they're a high street store, there's Waterstones. If you go into one of their shops, we don't have one in our town, but occasionally I go to a town that has one. I was in a town the other week with one, but I didn't go in. They usually still have a colouring book section, which is really nice, because a lot of places are sort of giving up on colouring books, really. I'm just looking at this fruit. I was going to do it in a red, but we used a lot of reds. So I was thinking maybe more of a browny red. Whoop, I'm just trying to get it out. This is the mahogany. I'm going to use this instead. Or maybe mix it with a light red. Yeah, so they have a nice selection of different books, colouring books, which is nice. They usually have Millie Marottas. Sometimes they have some of Kirby's. And they have Johanna's. So that's quite nice to see, you know. But we also have a shop called The Works, which tends to have some colouring books too. But they tend to have older ones, which, you know, they all sell, they're a discount shop. So they tend to have older books. But sometimes they seem to get, I'm just fading it off towards the middle. Sometimes they seem to get, what's her name? Melpomene books. What's her surname? I can't remember the beginning of her surname. She did Fragile Earth and brain's not working this morning. Nature Mandalas, right? Anyway, oh, Melpomene Chatsapanagiotou, that's it. Light red. I hope you can forgive me for forgetting how to say it. And butchering it when I did eventually remember how to say it. So we're gonna, this is a little bit samey compared to the colour of our mushroom, isn't it? I think it's okay though. Don't know. Have a think. Right, now where are we at? Let's do our lamp and door handle. Now I was quite keen actually to do them in a metallic, because we've got all our metallics. We've got our silver, our antique silver. Now I'm going to use the antique silver because the silver is really, let me show you on the swatch chart. The silver is really shiny. Can you see that silver? It looks almost white when it's in the light, whereas the other ones are duller, and I don't want it really shiny, so I'm going to use the antique silver for that reason. You could, if you want it really shiny, use the silver. There's not a huge difference. You won't be able to read that. So antique silver, and do the door handle. Now I can make silver with greys, and I do enjoy doing that. I'm just putting this down quite intensely so that it's quite a thick layer. But we've got a silver, and it's a teeny tiny space. Now with this bit, I am going to fade it a little bit towards the middle to try and enhance that shiny look even more, like that. And the same with this bit. So we've got a lighter bit in the centre. So even though you're using a metallic, you can still make it emphasise that shine. I need to do that candle. I think I'm going to do the flame in a sort of orangey yellow. I might actually use this one I've got out here. Why not? The marigold. It's so small that I can't do a mix of colours, so I'm just going to do something that works, if you know what I mean. The candle itself, I'm actually going to do in this light red. Am I being lazy or am I matching? Not sure. I'm going to do some yellow inside our, I'm going to use the lemon. Oh, can't get it out. There we go. Lemon for the inside of the lamp. We could do a little bit here. Like that. There we go. Now these mushrooms here, I'm seeing we could do them the same as the ones on the top, but I think I'm going to do them differently. I'm just looking at the time and I'm thinking about, do I stop here and do the flowers tomorrow? I think I want to do that, actually. I think I'm going to stop here and finish it off tomorrow, just because otherwise it's going to go on a really long time, and I need to pop off and do something and I might end up rushing. So I'm going to stop here, as I say, come back tomorrow and finish all the florals, and well, finish it really. So let's just come out so you can see what we've done. It doesn't look like we've done an awful lot, but we've done the mushrooms and the florals and this, and finished off. We basically finished the main mushroom, haven't we? And what we've got left is all the bits around the outside to do. So I'll be looking forward to doing that. I love these flowers, they're so pretty, and they. So we'll see what colours we're going to do so that we can form a nice frame. Are we going to do it dark to match in? Are we going to do it lighter so the mushroom stands out? I've got to make some decisions. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, if indeed it is Tuesday, or your day. Enjoy your day, and happy colouring.